The mystery of Nefertiti, perhaps one of the most powerful women in Egyptian history. Nefertiti sat beside King Akhenaten as queen during the pharaoh's rule between 1353 and 1336 BC. Nefertiti is recorded as having been unusually influential of the pharaoh during this reign. More interesting are the historical implications of her actions after her husband's death in 1336 BC. This was a time of great chaos, and many historians believe Nefertiti herself may have occupied the throne as a supreme ruler of Egypt. Nefertiti's origin is also shrouded in mystery. Some believe she was a foreign princess brought to Egypt. Others believe she was the daughter of one of Egypt's most respected advisors. Regardless, no consensus has been reached about her exact role or even the exact details of her birth. The Curse of Lord Tamerlane, one of the 20th century's most infamous and widely known curses. The Curse of Lord Tamerlane is a story surrounding the Great Patriotic War in the Soviet Union in 1941. Russia's most superstitious citizens blamed the excavation of a specific tomb for the war's start. Before the Soviets entered the war, Russian researchers gained permission to exhume the remains of a legendary Turco-Mongol conqueror known as Lord Tamerlane. Ignoring engravings on the tomb that warned of dire consequences and punishment for disturbing the tomb, archaeologists finally unlocked the mechanism that protected Tamerlane's tomb. Reports say all lanterns immediately extinguished themselves, and the men in the area suffered bouts of dizziness and nausea. Soviet leader Joseph Stalin immediately called the tomb to be sealed once more, fearful of the curse of the Lord Tamerlane, the conqueror. Who was King Arthur? A figure pulled straight from legend and synonymous with royalty and honor. The name of King Arthur resonates with people all around the globe. The fairy tales say that King Arthur, along with his band of noble knights, acted as savior of his land. Many, however, believe that his legendary character may have in fact been inspired by a real person, basing in the theory of multiple references to a Arthur in tales and poems from numerous poets throughout history. Some historians argue that the king was based on a warrior or officer of Roman forces who helped battle Saxon armies during the 5th and 6th century AD. Other historians dismiss the theory. Despite this, the far-reaching and persuasive presence of King Arthur in early stories across Europe still begs the question, who is King Arthur? The Jewels of King John. Sometime in the year 1216, near modern-day Lincolnshire, King John, known far and wide as Bad King John, was on the run with his army from enemies seeking his head. Even as he fled certain death, King John refused to abandon his enormous baggage caravans, which he had filled with loot such as gold, jewels, and other valuables. Though he thought to keep his riches and his head, the land had other ideas. As he attempted to cross a nearby tidal estuary, his baggage train was swamped by the rising waves. Despite his best efforts, all of his riches were swept into the ocean, and he was forced to abandon them as he fled. To this day, the location of his fortune has never been found, though many treasure seekers still flock the area in hopes of uncovering the fabled jewels. The death of Napoleon. One of the most recognizable and infamous figures in all of Western history, Napoleon Bonaparte was a man who inspired great loyalty and equally great animosity. Bonaparte rose through the French military to eventually be named Major General and lead France's armies against her enemies. However, Bonaparte's ambition got the best of him, and he played a vital role in overthrowing the French government in 1799. For the rest of his life, he was a figure of great controversy, with many looking at him as a visionary, while others saw as a traitor. After his eventual exile to the British island of St. Helena in 1815, many believe Bonaparte's historic career to be at its end, though members of the new French government still feared his influence. When he died 6 years later, in 1821, many historians immediately argue that he was poisoned or otherwise assassinated by those fearful officials, ending any future threat he may have posed.